Good morning, and welcome to an edition of possibly what will be called Political Paula Incorrect. We'll see what happens with the comments. So they say that the breast is best, right? Breast milk is better than formula for newborn babies up to like 2, sometimes 3 years old. You're supposed to breastfeed your child or you're a bad mother. Here's the thing with breasts and Americans. We've got this kind of my mother, my sister relationship with breasts. Because in some circumstances, breasts are taboo. Breasts are evil. When Janet Jackson's nipple shows up during the Super Bowl, children went blind. Parents boycotted CBS. They paid a fine. It was the end of the world because a nipple was showing for 2.5 seconds, if less than that. I did a show a few months ago where a young girl, a high school student, was sent home from school because she was wearing a t-shirt and her nipples were showing. Or so one person, one boy, one stupid, idiotic, obviously immature boy was making fun of her nipples. And she got called to the principal's office and shamed in front of her entire school and sent home to change her shirt because her nipples were showing. I'm not allowed to sunbathe topless down at Buttonwood Beach in Maryland. And yet, any woman anywhere, for the most part, the laws say she is allowed to whip out her breast as long as there's a child latched onto it, sucking away, getting nutrition. That breast doesn't make children go blind. You can breastfeed at a Chuck E. Cheese. At your table, you can breastfeed at a fine dining restaurant while I'm trying to eat a lobster. You can whip out your breast on a beach. I can't bathe topless at most beaches, but you can whip out your breast to breastfeed your kid because it's for the children, and we're so obsessed with children in America. But this show really isn't about that. This show's about something else. Kind of fooled you out on this one. This show is actually about Serena Williams. But it does have to do with breastfeeding to a point. Have any of you been following Serena Williams? You know, she just had a baby like a year ago, but still we say she just had a baby. The baby's a year old. She took a year off for maternity leave. Can you imagine? How many of you mamas out there, how many of you baby mommies would love to get a year off with your newborn child? And how many of you have actually been able to do it? You can't afford it, right? Well, Serena Williams did. And then after a year, I guess she got bored being a stay-at-home mom. Not enough to do, changing diapers, being there for the important things like first steps, first words, things like that. Things that some women would kill to be able to be there for. So she went back to training and doing her career, which is playing tennis. It's a sport. And then all of a sudden, again, nothing wrong with that. Serena Williams had that perfect right. I'm not criticizing her for going back to work. No worries. But here's what I'm criticizing her for. All the tweets. Oh my God, they lowered my ranking. Well, you haven't played for a year. What do you think's going to happen? Other people who kept playing, who didn't have kids, they topped you. So that was the first tweet. I'm being discriminated against. I didn't keep my ranking. For the year I decided to take off to bond with my one and only child. And Serena ain't young. This could possibly be the only child she ever has. And again, don't put your thumbs out yet. Wait, it's going to get better. I promise. It'll be more. You'll put your thumbs out eventually, but just wait for it. Because I always say on this show that being a parent is the most important job any man or woman will ever have. It is your most important job. It should be your number one priority once you decide you are going to procreate and have children. and bring a human being into this world. It's your most important job. And if you can do it, it's better for your child if you dedicate 150% of your time to your child. Most people can't afford to do that in this day and age, in 2018. It takes 2 incomes to support a family. Mommies have to work. But Serena Williams is one mommy who does not have to work. And yet she's on the Twitter crying, wanting people to feel sorry for her because she had to stop breastfeeding, to lose weight, to get into shape, to go back to her job as a tennis player. She cries because she missed her child's first steps because she was training. She had to train. See, here's my point. She didn't have to do anything. Serena Williams is a millionaire 5 times over. Serena Williams does not have to play tennis to support her child, to feed her child, to clothe her child, to put a roof over said child's head. But there are a lot of American women out there who do cry. And they're not on Twitter crying. They're too busy working a full-time job and trying to be there for their children. They're too busy to go on Twitter and cry about missing the first step, the first word, about having to pump the breast instead of having the bonding thing of having your child feed from your breast, because they have to go to work. They don't have that luxury of choice. So before we all get out our handkerchiefs and start crying for Serena Williams, a millionaire who chose to go back to a very physical job, which requires her to deny her child breast milk, to miss her child's first everything. Let's remember who Serena Williams is. Everything she is doing right now, she has already won. She has won Wimbledon. She's won the French Open. She's won the US Open. She's won the Australian Open. She's won the Olympics. And for some reason, it's not enough. It's not enough for her to say, you know what, I've done it. I don't need money. I have this beautiful young child that only one time is going to walk for the first time, is only going to talk for the first time once. Needs something that could come from my body to nutrition her, to give her nutrition, to make her healthy, because they say breast is best. But I choose to play tennis instead. Now look, there's a lot of rich people out there that choose their career over their children. None of my business. Serena Williams is none of my business. The problem is Serena Williams has made it my business. Because she's on fucking Today Show every day with her tweets and her press conferences about how she's being discriminated against because she had a baby and took a year off. About how she has sacrificed so much to get back to tennis that she loves so dearly. She's given up the breastfeeding. She's given up seeing her child walk for the first time, talk for the first time. And we're supposed to feel sorry for her. That's where I get to judge. And right now I am talking to someone who will never be a mother. As someone who will never be a mother, I'm never going to be a mother. But I'm also someone who wouldn't adopt a dog unless I could stay home and take care of my dog. That's how I roll. I won't adopt a dog and have a full-time job. Because I know that a new puppy needs constant supervision, constant training, constant talking to. That's why my dogs, for the most part, are very well trained. They're not perfect. Savvy isn't perfect. She still has this excitement when people come in the room. She jumps on them. But my dog is smart. My dog knows words that some children don't know. Because I talked to my dog. All of my time was spent with my dog in her formative years. Her first year of life. I was here to make her sit, to make her stay, to teach her how to heel when I walk her, to behave properly. I did all of that, for the most part, on my own while my husband went out and worked. Now, that's a dog. Now, I don't have human children. But when my husband and I first met and were talking about the possibility, if we were thinking maybe someday having kids, the only goal, the only rule that I had for that, and I really didn't want kids, and neither did he, but I said if we were to end up deciding to have children, I would not work outside the home for 6 years. I would be there. He would have to work, and I would be home with our children. Just as when we adopted the dog, I said, well, I'm not going to go out and get a job, so you better be able to support us, because I have work to do. And it's important work. It's important work raising a good, healthy, happy dog. Just like it is extra, extra important to raise a healthy, happy, good-natured child, human child. And if you can do it, it is the most wonderful thing in the world. You will never hear me criticize any woman who chooses to stay home to raise her children. Never. Unless they use welfare and food stamps to do it. But luckily for this country, there are so many women out there who don't want the shame of being on welfare and food stamps and Medicaid and Section 8 housing. They go out and work to support their kids when they choose, because they choose to have them, and they believe that their job is to pay to support them, work to support them. And I admire those women too, women like my mother, women like my husband's parents. They were able to raise wonderful children while working, but not because they wanted to, because they had to. So when you see Serena Williams on Twitter and doing all these news conferences after she wins another tennis match, one that she's won many times over, and then she's crying about being away from her baby, remember, that was a choice. It wasn't a have to. And it is different. The rich are different in that way. Because when the rich choose their career over their children, it truly is a choice. A choice that most people don't get. And as far as breastfeeding goes, you know what? I think it should be done in private. I think if you're at a fine dining restaurant, where in my opinion, infants and breastfeeding children don't even belong, but you should go to the ladies' room. It should not be done in public. It should not be done in front of other people in any situation. Unless, of course, we start saying that breasts are allowed to be exposed anywhere at any time by anybody. I don't think baby mommies should get all the credit for having nice breasts. I mean, my breasts are pretty good. They'd look good on a beach. On any beach. And in the privacy of on my own property, I think I should be able to sunbathe topless. I really hate tan lines. That's why I like going to Jamaica so much. No tan lines when you come home from Jamaica. No tan lines anywhere. For 5 minutes, I can actually feel like I'm an islander, because I have no tan lines when I go to Jamaica. I'm just saying. I know I'm going to get some comments on this, but remember, this is Political Paula Incorrect. So I'm allowed to basically say anything I want, and you guys can comment anything you want. It's all good. But the part about choosing when you are wealthy enough to not need to work, not need to leave your baby when they're only a year old, when you could be there, that stuff, that's not Political Paula Incorrect. That's just, I don't know. Maybe I would have made a good mother after all. I just think it's being a good mom. That if you are blessed to have so much money that you don't have to work, and you've got this little blessed baby in your arms that's counting on you, that's going to remember, by the way, that you weren't there because you were out playing tennis at a tournament you had already won several times? How's that child going to feel? Probably not like the most important thing in your life. And that's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate for any child to feel that their parents value their job more than they value them. For some parents, it's a necessity. For those that it's a choice, well, for me, the choice would be clear. Political Paula, out.